That or they're looking at... Yeah, it'll depend on how the seed goes. For sure. We're still waiting a bit. How is the race room looking? We're getting there.
Yep. And the gate is being lifted, so we are on the countdown, so our runners will be off momentarily.
Indeed, we have an interesting hash today. Bow, mirror shield, 2 flutes, and an ice rod. Wonder what that means?
I always go with absolutely nothing unless I see a lot of like a particular item.
Well, 2 flutes is a little bit interesting. Metal seeds. Baka being Riki of Kokiri's final names. Cerveza, Lumaga, and hi, chat. Yep, indeed, Professor. Hi, chat. Hi, Professor. I still remember that picture that he had up of hi, chat, but with the word bra written underneath it from a different daily I commentated on. He was very unamused by the seed and expressed it with a picture.
So our runners are getting started. We have a couple of Sank starts and a couple of Link's House starts. So already a little bit of divergence depending on if you prefer that Uncle start or the Sanctuary start. We did get a key in Sanctuary and our starter shield over in Link's House.
Yes, I did. Looks like Professor Render is running a palette shuffle of some kind. Little trippy.
We did see a tier 1 tree pull from Homemade Beer, just some hearts. And then Bonk Rocks from Lumaga and Ricky for just a heart piece. Render is taking the most different approach, going to hit up Sahasrara and maybe see a little bit of a dip into Eastern.
See, Uncle gave us a heart container and 10 arrows in the Uncle chest. We saw a map check earlier, but I only managed to catch a crystal on, I think, Hera. There's a book in Saha's hut. Heart piece and blue mail. Not too bad.
Ricky and Lumaga both getting bombs off of that bush crab, so really nice little find there, as we're going to get to also see the lumberjack ledge and just a piece of heart. So luckily that means Aga is not required, at least for the item in this race.
That is correct. Nothing too much of interest though so far.
Yeah, Professor Render getting that book and blue mail out of Sahasrara is a nice little bonus to start with, but nothing too advantageous.
Oh, glove in the Lost Woods for Lumaga and Ricky here.
Yeah, and Beer and Renderer will not be far behind.
No, not at all. All 4 pretty close together. Is it me or is there a bit of an audio desync?
I am not sure, to be honest.
I think we're using Lumaga's, but I think it might be a little desync because I'm getting a little confused.
So Renderer, as chat's pointing out, does have that book. Might see a check of the pedestal. Pedestal is very rarely required in a seed, but you have the ability to get that information. Might be a little advantageous.
Yeah, one of our trackers went to the past was asking about their sprites. I'm afraid the only one I recognize is your sprite for obvious reasons. Blind set, some money, some more money, some more money, and the ice rod.
Well, I guess the ice rod is at least a nice-ish prize.
Yeah, and some bombs. Okay, not ice rod, the only thing remotely notable in blind set today.
So we are getting to see this ped, and it's a rupee horde, so ped is dead already.
Yeah, rip ped. Yeah, do you recognize any of our other sprites? Because I'm afraid I haven't the slightest idea.
Let's see. Not exactly.
Oh, bottle and sword in the first 2 checks of the well. Yeah, 10 arrows, another shield, and another mail upgrade!
So Renderer will have a very early red mail.
You don't say.
That
Early
bottle
sword
is
and
a
early
nice
bottle
bonus.
is nice.
Yeah, really getting to check sick kid. So that'll be helpful.
Oh, absolutely. Alright, chicken hut here for Lumaga, the others close behind in Cac. And Desert Heart Piece.
Yeah, very standard start here. Go through all your Kakariko village checks. This is a really safe area to kind of see if you can find anything.
Bottom left does look to... yeah, that is actually... yeah, I think that might be Hat Time.
I think you're right. That could be Hat Kid.
Yeah, I know that you mentioned it. I do remember. Yeah, that's Hat Kid. I haven't the slightest idea on the other two, though. I'm really bad at remembering ALTTP sprites, and it doesn't help that they're really small. I'm also just not that familiar with a lot of the references.
I think everybody's got a few sprites that they like to use and maybe mix it up a little bit, and everybody's got the ones that they recognize. And then there's a lot of ones that kind of just don't get seen a lot.
Hi, bugging it on the library. I mean, I guess you're right here. Might as well. For Lumaga.
Sometimes you want those safeties.
Yeah. Sometimes you
Renderer
just end
did
up
release that bee.
Render slashing, Professor slashing a bit of the red veil, like, really, game? Nothing on race game. And there's Lumaga's red veil. It kind of fit that Professor got red mail and red shield back to back. We're seeing the back of Escape in the meantime from Ricky.
Yeah, good play. It's a quick set of 3 items that you can check immediately. So I think this is a good play. Maybe you find something to make the rest of your checks a little bit better.
Let's see, map, rupee, and hey, hookshot.
Hookshot's definitely a great prize this early. Can speed up some of the checks that Ricky will probably be doing along South Shore. So well worth the time.
Oh, for sure.
Rupees are our flooded item there. And what do we have inside of the dam? We've got a Master Sword.
Oh, hey, nice. Can't complain. That's Master Sword and red mail already, plus a fire shield for the throw in. That's not too bad. Ricky gonna find a load of nothing here on the uncle checks.
Yeah, we did see some runners actually go and run through race game. I find that at least in open modes that don't have any key sanity on them, that the doing of race game blindly is almost not your best move, just because it's very unlikely to have an item required. But we do get Titan's Mitts in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Lions mitts and some love and money. Alright, not too bad. And no ice rod cave for Lumaga. Alright.
Yeah, that's a check that can definitely annoy runners. It can be slow to get to. With those boots, it's not too bad. Plus, with the boots, you could set up a water walk, but I'm guessing that given Lumaga doesn't have nearly enough money right now for the Zora, kind of waiting at least to find maybe a little bit more money.
Oh, Ricky's doing the front of Escape in the meantime, as we see nothing new from our other runners. And actually, we are using Ricky's audio, I finally figured out. Ricky and Lumaga are following similar routes for a while, so I wasn't quite guessing together what it was. Maybe? No? Huh. I am just getting confused. It's fine.
So yeah, Ricky doing the front of Escape portion.
Yeah, let's see. The first chest was just a blue rupee. Let's see. This is the mushroom.
Could be bad, could be good. Definitely want to hope to kind of save that until later, if possible. Meanwhile, Homemade is heading towards Ice Rod Cave. Gonna give that a look. So that's some new information.
Yeah, there's definitely some audio desync because I'm pretty sure we're using Lumaga's.
And there is Dark World access in Ice Rod Cave. That was the Moon Pearl.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, that's huge.
That's
Um,
unfortunate for Lumaga, who left that behind, as we see a heart piece installed to sell for Ricky.
And Homemade's actually setting up for a water walk here. All you have to do for this is you pretty much dash out of Ice Rod Cave. You set yourself up on the right edge of Ice Rod Cave, dash straight down out through the door. You'll pretty much run a close up against the door, and that'll get you in this water walk state. You just have to jump south onto the water, screen down, and you can walk on water.
Yep. Alright, $50 in Waterfall Fairy. Oh, Fire Rod Night Lake Highly Island. Thank you, chat. Hi! Hammer!
And that is a great find for Homemade there. Sequence breaking that hammer, but tons of info, and great for just getting around Dark World this early.
Oh, for sure.
We
If we didn't already have Dark World access, we definitely do now.
Yeah, we've got a heart container on the Zora ledge. Not real important, but we also don't have the money for Zora.
No, Homemade Beer only having 133 right now.
But yeah, so Homemade is heading straight into Dark World here at that south location. So we'll get to see Hype Cave, and I'm guessing Homemade's going to head west for Village of Outcasts after this.
Oh, okay. Pendant Mire, Red Crystal, Turtle Rock, Green Pendant Pod. I'm going to check there from Homemade Beer. Hi, Speed Gaming 2, rating with a party of 85, and hola to Speed Gaming Portuguese, rating with a party of 24. Welcome in to and link to the past randomizer daily race. We have an open boots fast kit and see today. And let's see. Hype Cave, the bottle, I missed the first item, and not much else.
Yeah, it wasn't very hype.
No.
I'd say the hypest item might be either the 300 rupees or our second bottle.
Yeah, that's a toss-up. Which one's more useful? Neither is great.
I'll say at least we didn't have a lot of money to begin with, so...
Yep, and yeah, Professor has very, the waters apparently turned to blood or something in this Hyrule. Not a particular fan.
Yeah, so good play by Renderer there, getting the hammer and pearl as well. So already set up for doing Dark World access. And it looks like Renderer is actually going to go from the north side here. I think we're getting, yep, Renderer is heading over to King's Tomb with those mitts.
Yep, 10 arrows and the shroom turned into Nagina has just the heart piece for Ricky, as Homemade Beer takes 3 digs for a set of bombs. At least the digging was quick about it.
Yeah, we also saw Ricky hit up Agina and nothing this time. And yes, we did see a save scum from Lumaga. For those unfamiliar, technically we could set up for some fake powder later. So to save the mushroom, Lumaga checked what was on the mushroom, found it wasn't worth it, and decided to reset the game without saving, thus preserving that mushroom.
Yep, hammer packs time for Homemade Beer. Mini Moldum for Ricky. We've nothing much for Lumaga at the moment, who's just doing the Saha Hut.
Yeah, nice hammer dashes there for Homemade. Just a heart piece, though, there.
Yeah. Elliot Island was apparently a fire rod, according to one of our trackers.
Yep, yeah, that was fire rod, so...
Oh, okay, that's a slightly brighter blue than I'd really like for Professor there, and the Dark World is a little bright.
Yeah,
Palette Shuffle can be a little hit or miss. This one's a bit much, in my opinion. Someone in chat saying it's a bit nauseating. Yeah, this one's a little trippier. Sea House looks relatively normal, just a tad bit pinker than the typical as I see a Bombus in there. Nice.
Yeah, we're going to need at least one medallion for this race, so nice to see Bombos this early. That is definitely one of our better medallions.
Yep, and nothing in chess game as Lumaga's going to dip Easter.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lumaga skipping Ice Rod Cave is really going to prove to be a problem. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lumaga possibly last location that Moon Pearl at this point.
I would expect so, unfortunately. Yeah, as you see, in front of Thieves Town here for Professor, for us just having a red rupee. Ice is open, not because you can water walk there. It's not in logic, but it is open.
Yeah, between either fake flippers or a water walk, our runners could easily get into Ice Palace and clear it as long as they're comfortable with that Ice Palace bomb jump. But yes, not in logic by far.
Yep, front of Thieves Town has a shovel for Rain Professor, and homemade beer is following close behind. Umaga's not found anything in Eastern so far. There's the big key for Professor. And that's some bombs. I was not counting items here at Thieves Town. I knew there was at least 2 items in the shovel, bombs, and I did not catch the third. It wasn't a small key, I'll tell you that much. Big chest of Eastern, just 10 arrows. Time for dark rooms.
Yeah, nice little showing of our hook speed there by Lumaga. So lots of really nice little tech advantages here. Hook speed is definitely it's a lot easier than setting up spin speed as well.
That's for sure. Well, maybe you're literally just on Professor's tail, just about a room apart right now. They're very close.
Yeah, just had to play it a little bit safe there. The Thieves Town Hellway is definitely one of those rooms that can be a little bit rough, especially given, Homemade's only on 6 hearts and Render's on 5, so gonna play it a little bit safe.
Yep, nothing in the attic of Thieves Town. Eastern was a bust for Lumaga.
And it looks like Lumaga is unfortunately going to be heading over to our desert area. Definitely looks at the book and says that's where progression's got to be at this point.
Yep, as abandoning Ice Rod Cave, unfortunately, and that's gonna hurt. We'll see if this pit turns out to be anything, which would be good for Lumaga, but generally it's not great. Here's the red meringue in Blind Cell. There's really been nothing in the front of Thieves Town. Take your pick, red meringue or shovels.
Yeah, not much of a Thieves Town here. Luckily, it is one of our crystals, so that is progress towards the goal, but nothing in terms of progression.
At least not right now. Yeah, small key locked in the big chest is quite handy. Don't have to worry about it.
So what we do know that we need, at least to complete this seed, we're going to need flippers and mirror and Cane of Samaria. Those are the big ones.
Yep.
So technically, we can live without a bow in this seed.
True. Yes, we could. As we see, just the compass on blind. Fast Ganon means that you don't need to beat Ganon's tower. You can just go straight to Ganon once you have collected enough crystals, which in this case is 7. For chat. And that's Professor's first crystal of the seed, just ahead of homemade beer here at 17 minutes.
Yeah, nicely done by both of our runners getting through that blind fight. Renderer is going to continue south here.
Front of Skull Woods now for Ricky. The big key was vanilla. I don't think the big chest did anything. And the front of Skull Woods hasn't had anything either.
Ricky does have half magic.
Oh, that must have been what was it. Oh yeah, because I wasn't paying no attention.
Depending on when and if we see the fire rod or half magic, or sorry, the fire rod or the lamp, that could be a big benefit later.
Yeah, it could, as we see in the just keys in the front of Skull Woods, so the final item I think is in the back.
We also have the other room that we're going to see on Homemade side is that the mummy room, the Gibdo room here. And Homemade breaking out the Bombos medallion. Not a bad choice.
No, we saw this. This is the vanilla big. This is a vanilla big
sorry.
key.
Right.
Because I think half magic must be the big key chest because I did zone out a slight bit.
Oh, and as one of our trackers, Oro, is pointing out, Lamp was in the brewery.
Ah, yes, I was looking away at the time. Thank you, chat.
So that's a huge find, because while Homemade came in from the south, that would imply that Homemade skipped brewery?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that would happen.
I'm not sure either, because Homemade does not have a lamp marked on his tracker.
I'll wait to see if there's a menuing soon, but yeah, that's a surprise. And Lumaga's still avoiding that ice rod cave, unfortunately. Going to make a play up to Death Mountain now.
Yeah, unfortunately, just kind of stuck. Also, apparently the bot's broken. Because it is not responding to the runner's command. It is responding to the track commentary command. Odd. Yeah, just the runner's command seems to be broken. Homemade beer will be fine at a brewery, so. You're technically not wrong, Cypher. Okay,
we do have 2 medallions. Oh, yeah, sorry, that was actually the big prize of Hype Cave, and it's not a great prize. Quake Medallion, while could be helpful in reaching or getting into some of our TR or Mire, unfortunately, it's just not a very utility medallion. And was that flute on top of Spec Rock?
I have not. Yep, that is a flute. And unfortunately, Lumaga currently can't get it. Doesn't have mirror and doesn't have hammer, I don't think. Yeah, can't get over there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that flute is definitely mirror locked, so not going to see that for a while. But Renderer is following the logic here, just going around on a Froggy World Tour and gets a bow off of the pyramid.
It's a good find. May not be required, but still good to have.
Lumaga is giving us a lot of new checks here with the Paradox Cave. Paradox 2, nothing.
Eastern and Pod are now beatable. Let's see. Top of Paradox. Red Rupee, Heart Piece. Red Rupee. $50. And $20. Yeah, that's a very dead Paradox caves.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of our normally very high value caves not really paying out in this one.
No, not at all. Where was Hookshot? The Hookshot was in, let's see, in a back of Escape. Professor Render getting, oh, there's the mirror of Catfish.
Checks are just paying out huge for Renderer here. Almost everything Renderer goes after just seems to have something here. This is amazing.
We're 22 minutes in, and we've already found and Professor Renderer's tracker is already almost about half full, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, we talk about Friday kind of being this theme of quick races, and this is exactly the kind of stuff. Starting with Boots and Fast Ganon, you expect a short seed, and Renderer is really just, the items are paying out nicely here.
Absolutely. Bloomerang in for Lumaga there. Yeah, Lumaga unfortunately doesn't have a Moon Pearl. Checked Mini Moldorm Cave and chose to save warp out, and skipped Ice Rod Cave unfortunately is going to last location at this point.
Going to
do a Houlihan for Zora here.
Yep.
I don't know what Lumaga's thinking for logic, because this is definitely not in logic.
Actually, Zora is in logic. All you need to get to Zora
never mind,
is
it's a glove.
Yep.
Baseball.
So
Never mind. I'm scatterbrained. That is enough money also there off the Houlihan as Professor's about to turn into Smith. And Ricky picks up his first crystal at 23 minutes. Bombs on for Professor.
curious to see. It looks like I have to. I was about to say, is Renner going to head up the mountain at this point, which I think would have been a great play. But instead is going to. I'm not sure. Is this going to be a Pod Eastern play? No. Oh,
I
Shovel
was going to
turn it.
suggest Swamp, but Shovel first is sensible.
Yeah, we're still short flippers for Swamp, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess we forgot that.
Now, Homemade, on the other hand, went up the mountain, is going to check out a lot of our Death Mountain plays. Unfortunately, no mirror.
No, nothing on, just some money off the dig spot. What do we actually need, though? We need let's see, we can do Desert, we can do Hera, we need Flippers for Swamp, we need a Fire Rod for Skull Woods. We may or may not need a medallion for Turtle Rock. We need Ether for Turtle Rock. We are 2 to 3 items from Go Mode. Not too bad for 25 minutes in.
Yeah, we also need that Cane of Samaria. Hopefully that one shows up sooner rather than
Oh,
later.
yes. So, okay, so 3 to 4.
Yeah.
I cannot count. And true that, we know where Fire Rod is. So, yeah. That's 2 to 3 items still. I just cannot count.
Now,
We need
one of the
Flippers
things,
anyway for Swamp Palace, because that's a crystal, so
now, while
it's
we
part of
do
our Go Mode
need,
either way.
logically, we need flippers for Fire Rod. I don't know if we'll see it, but one of our runners could consider sequence breaking it.
You could, but you're gonna need Flippers anyway for Swamp, so I'm kind of over it. Pendant Pod here for Professor.
Yeah, I'm surprised Render is not heading for the mountain yet. While Pod is a definitely dense play, and there are plenty of people who will tell you to always go to Pod if you can, I think you have to prioritize your crystals for sure in these kinds of races.
Yeah, Professor just not choosing to not go up Death Mountain or check out Desert, both of which are clearable crystals right now.
And yes, logic is just a suggestion.
Oh, absolutely. But it's also good to know if you're looking for items where it can't be, as we see a compass in the first chest of Hera.
And okay, so Renderer, I guess, did not do a map check earlier, so is now finding out that Eastern is a pendant and still going in anyway.
Interesting. We know there's absolutely nothing in the front.
Up on Homemade Beer's side, we did just see a very nice Hera pot. That's some newer tech. It allows you to skip the, if not finding a big key. It can also just make it so much quicker to get up to the top of Tower of Hera. So nice time save there.
Yeah, just some bombs in the compass chest.
So Lumaga is going through Thieves Town. Unfortunately, does not have the hammer, did not do a water walk. I think, there's definitely some frustration on Lumaga's side.
Cannot feel good for that.
That Moon Pearl and Ice Rod Cave is not a great feeling. So probably got that and just said, you know what, I gotta make a move here and skip those out of logic checks.
Yeah, just the map there on Lildorm.
Yeah, Ricky saw the flute on. Ricky and Homemade both would have seen the flute on Spectacle Rock. Unfortunately, neither runner having that mirror off of Quakefish. That's definitely an out of the way location.
It is. The only person who hasn't seen the only person who hasn't seen the flute is also the only person who has the mirror. It's great.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of our runners kind of doing different things, and if we pooled all their information, they would be so much better set right now.
Oh, that's for sure. Because between them, we're not missing much. Flippers could be on. No, we have seen a ped check because Professor Renderer got the book very early and checked ped pretty much immediately.
Yeah, we do have a dead ped this time. Renderer went to Sahasrah's closet very early and got the book there. So on his way into Kakariko Village and the Lost Woods, was able to check that out. It was just some money.
Hera's basement for
I believe
Beer has
board.
Yep. Beer getting the big key, and Hera must have been the match in the other basement chest and is looking for that item because
unfortunately, it was a basement big key, and we had both items. We did not find both items, so Homemade being thorough here and making sure to get that second item just in case out of Hera.
Yeah.
Now, both Ricky and Homemade are going for the hook speed version of Herapod. There's a lot of different versions here. The only real requirement is you need to have the hook shot.
Yeah, and just a red rupee feels bad, man, for Homemade Beer. As Professor here heads for the back for Ramos Knights.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to get anything off the Eastern play. Haven't really seen anything yet, so it's really just been a time sink, especially knowing that this is not even our green pendant. It's a non-green pendant.
And yes, Eastern was a bust today. Absolutely nothing remotely useful in it. Could have skipped the whole place. Professor just spent a few minutes clearing it up for nothing. And we had a couple other ones at least dip the front, but Professor's the only one so far who's cleared it.
And to chat, yes, we have seen Ped. Unfortunately, this is definitely not a Ped seed. Render is actually the only one of our runners to know this isn't a Ped seed.
And now it's time for Pendant Pod for Professor, interestingly, as we see, hey, it's not immediately bow-locked.
So we're about to get some new information, though, from Homemade and Ricky. Homemade going through that TR portal to find out TR is Ether. We need Ether Medallion. We've got two, not the right one.
Yep. Of course. Thanks, game.
So Umaga is completely in logic right now. You know, all our other three runners are all completely out of logic. That hammer has not been. We still need the flippers actually for that hammer to be in logic.
Yep.
And yes, it would not be surprising for us to find Ether. For some reason, medallions just have a tendency to show up under the doormat.
Yeah, bienvenue! Speed Gaming Français, rating with a party of 9. Nous sommes en train de flipper, yeah, there's the flippers.
So we're back in logic.
Yeah, le course daily de ALTTP, c'est un ouvert avec les bottes et fast cannon. Speaking briefly in French to speak to our readers here, welcome in. And nothing
so the best thing, we know that Swamp Palace is now in logic.
We do.
So all we need is Homemade and Ricky to get over to Quakefish and their Swamp Palace. Unfortunately, Quakefish is notoriously a last location for a lot of runners.
Yeah, it's just so out of the way and they have other things to do.
Exactly.
And merci, super big Kmart. C'est ma troisième langue. Et je le parle assez bien pour vous bienvenue. And hello! Goodness gracious, hi! Speed Gaming rating with a party of 322. Welcome into our Raiders rating from Super Mario Land Finals. We've got here the Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race. We have Open Boots Fast Ganon.
So Ricky finishing up Hookshot Cave. Question is, where is Ricky going? Ricky has done Escape and had already gotten the mushroom, so... And I know Ricky's definitely considering the importance of the flippers, knowing that or maybe not. Did Ricky not find out? Well, Ricky's about to find out. Hey, I need mirror because there's my fire rod.
Needs mirror anyway, since it is a Crystal Skull Woods. And no, I'm not speaking Mario. Chad.
Yeah, that fire rod is super important in this seed. Both TR and Swamp or Skullwoods will require it. Oddly enough, Ricky heading for oh well, I guess Sahashwal is not a bad play. There's 3 items here.
Makes sense.
Will Ricky head into Eastern Palace?
Yes, Lumaga is doing desert here, which is sensible. Does have the items for it. And no, I can't sing the All-Star song in French either. I don't know it in English, never mind French. Whenever someone develops it, I assume mind of me. Super Mario Land 2 MSU pack wins.
Yeah, Lumaga does have that lamp, so that will make Desert Palace clearable, which does mean another crystal on Lumaga's side. Lumaga had already done the rest of Desert Palace. Unfortunately, Lumaga had last location that Pearl and pretty much checked every other location up to this point.
Yeah, unfortunately so. There's been absolutely nothing whatsoever in Pod for Professor, I think, at all. And he's still going.
Yeah, at least this is the green pendant here on Helmasaur, so there's a chance for this to pay out. If you're in Renderer's shoes, I think that's what you're hoping for, is that something's on green pendant, because this honestly just feels like a huge time sink.
Right, and Ricky's doing the same play as Homemade Beer also heads for desert.
Yeah, unfortunately, density is the name of the game usually, and can't blame Ricky and Renderer for doing this. Unfortunately, I look at it also as, I think for Renderer's side of things, you kind of hoped that Death Mountain was going to be the play.
Yeah, as one of our trackers, Oro, mentions, we actually know where everything but the cane is at this point.
I'm sure all of our runners would hope for another sword along the way, or silvers. Master Sword Ganon is not a terrible fight, but nobody will pass up.
Oh yeah, we do need Ether, never mind, because I am also a scatterbrain. Why didn't Lumaga use Ice Rod? I don't know why Lumaga didn't use Ice Rod, might have just forgotten.
Yeah, Ice Rod is, you have to have a little bit, it's one of those things you don't always think about. It's a nice weapon to use in this fight, but if you're not as comfortable with it, you might not think to use it. It's a little bit slower than Fire Rod, so you have to be a little bit more accurate.
Yep, nothing at all in Helmasaur. Pod itself was an absolute bust, so unless Saha has something, you did not need to touch Pod.
But it does look like Renderer is going to head for Sahashwal on that green pendant turn in, so definitely hoping for value here.
Nope.
But unfortunately, nope.
Just a heart piece. So, yeah, 2 more pendants were absolute bust. And, considering the cane is one of our go mode items, we're not likely to see Moyer today either. Unless Ether happens to be in there, that's about the only thing that could be there that we need at this point.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of access, or we have the ability to get there with knowledge of the flute and everything else. So, but it does look like Render is heading for Death Mountain, so definitely going to get a lot of progression here.
Yep, also half magic was in Dark Cross, it seems. I did lose track of things a bit. Is Lumaga just picked up? Kane can be in my work, come to think of it. I'm just a scatterbrained. What
Yeah,
happens when I
Kane-
try to come? Yeah, no,
Kane
Kane,
can
because
be
Kane is in
anywhere.
Meyer in the vanilla game.
Yeah, just
Alright.
not TR.
Now, Turtle Rock Professor finally heading up Death Mountain, which is a fairly nice shade of purple today, actually. I can't complain about this.
Yeah, the only out of all the dungeons that are definite crystals that I'd want to do last, I think you save Ice Palace until you maybe can have Kane for it. Ice Palace can actually be Kane locked depending on the key layout.
Yes, it can. Professor seeing the flute now will be picking that up.
And Ricky took a Death Warp out of Pod. This is going to really pay off because Ricky is heading back out of Palace of Darkness. And I think this means he'll likely head up to the Pyramid and hopefully Catfish. I'm hoping that Ricky finding that bow on Pyramid does not kind of send him back this way.
I hope so as well. Hey, there's the cane. Ether tablet for Professor.
So we are down to a Ether Medallion hunt.
And that could be almost anywhere that's not Turtle Rock at the moment. So either must be where Kane is in vanilla, right? Lol, that would be awful, Orov. So for Ricky...
So now we did talk about the hook shot variant or the hook speed variant of Harapot. Renderer doing a different boots technique to set up the Harapot using a bonk off the lower switch block and then dropping a bomb pretty much where you stop immediately. And then you just set up using the top one, and you're looking for a 1 pixel gap between that line right under the pot to then hook shot into it.
Unfortunately misses it and decides to just go for the basement. Yeah, Ricky, yeah, Professor spending, not Professor. Yeah, Professor was the only person to check the ether tablet there, as Ricky is the second person to pick up his mirror at 42 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately, Homemade and Ricky both went up the mountain, as well as Lumaga went up the mountain without the book, at least that first time. In the case of Lumaga, while Lumaga did have book, did not have hammer, so wasn't able to reach the ether tablet to get that cane.
No,
yeah, none of our runners able to kind of route these all together. Renderer definitely having a little bit of an advantage just from, what items he had at the time.
Yep, nothing. Just a heart container on King Zora. Scam as always. And yeah, we're currently just seeing the runners rehash each other's steps. Hopefully Lumaga at least picks up his cane when doing Hera. But for Homemade Beer and Ricky, that cane is not great because they've done Hera. You don't really want to go back up the mountain until you've got the cane to do Turtle Rock, I think.
Well, Ricky is actually saying, no, I'm going to head right up the mountain and get my flute.
Well,
Not
that's
a
a fair
required
point, at
item.
least. The flute does at least drag you back up there, but the other question then is, when does Homemade Beer get his mirror to get him back up the mountain?
Yeah, unfortunately, Homemade not taking any route that's putting them there, so We'll have to wait and see when that happens.
Yep. Fire Rod is on the Lake Hylia Island, chat. Yeah, Ice Palace isn't really a bad play, honestly, from Homemade Beer's perspective at the rate we're going.
Unfortunately for Homemade Beer, the only problem there is won't have access to a icebreaker if that decision is made.
Lumaga actually choosing to run all the way to Zora Ledge for a heart container. I'm not sure why, but sure. Is up to 12 hearts now, the healthiest of our runners.
I think it's partly due to not only having a Master Sword right now. Just a little bit, safer of a play.
That makes sense. Professor picking up his second crystal here at 44 minutes. And Ricky's activating his flute.
And then Ricky really has the world's open here. The only thing that Ricky does not have access to is Turtle Rock, but there are, really any other dungeon that Ricky wants to go complete, he can do it.
Yes, he can. Lumaga, in the meantime, is an Ice Palace, which is an interesting play. Doesn't have a cane, doesn't have the Fire Rod. It's only going to be able to get so far in here, depending on the key layout, potentially.
Well, I assume Lumaga is familiar with Ice Palace Bomb Jump, so should be able to complete the dungeon.
Yeah, we'll see if there's anything worth it in here oh, we have a prediction going. What is this prediction? And first device is the big key. Ether will first be found by... Huh. I guess that works. Ideas? Sniper?
A runner on the left versus a runner on the right. I will probably go with... Ooh. See, if I'm thinking about this from a practical perspective, I think that the only person who's doing new information right now is Lumaga, so if you want to go there, I'd say left. But if I'm a betting man, I think Ricky might find it first.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think I'm gonna go with left myself.
Yeah, I mean, Lumaga's our only runner checking new items, so it's not a bad choice.
Yeah. Professor checking out the absolute waste of time at his Paradox Cave as Ricky goes desert.
And here we go, Lumaga getting ready for that Ice Palace Bomb Jump.
Falls in the hole.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not... I don't think Lumaga is close enough to the edge there.
I don't think so either. Looks a little too far and keeps falling in the hole. Ouch.
Yeah, this is... I don't want to speak poor of runners today, but I think, it's one of those skills that we, as runners, we really have to continue to focus on because we've all been kind of spoiled by Icebreaker.
Yeah, alright, it does eventually get it. Professor's finding out that it's Ether, and it's just like, really?
That works out better for Render. I don't know if Render would want to go into TR at this point.
Yeah, doesn't have flippers just yet. We'll be getting them shortly, but doesn't have them just yet. And Fire Atlas TR is kind of meh, even at the best of times.
Yeah, I think, Render, the worst case could have been like a flippers in TR to go get Fire Rod off of Hylia Island, so luckily not the case. Meanwhile, Ricky of Kokiri heading into our Lanmo fight, gonna break out that Ice Rod.
And we have a powder and Ice Palace for Lumaga. We are also going to Pod, which we know to be a fat load of nothing.
As Renderer does get those flippers out of Hookshot Cave, and Ricky has finished up Desert Palace for his third crystal. So that ties up Ricky with Homemade on the crystal count. Renderer has cleared 4 dungeons. Unfortunately, 2 of those are pendants and really did not give him anything this time. But
Nope.
Ricky is going to check out the mire area. I'm hoping Ricky doesn't head into mire and just checks out these the mire shed and possibly checkerboard cave. But you never know.
Those would both make sense. Nothing in Mire Shed. And where is... Okay, Professor's activating the flute.
And Ricky's heading over to Checkerboard Cave, so hopefully, you know, maybe we'll find Ether here and put Ricky into, well, no mode, really, because Ricky does know where that fire rod is. And just a piece of heart and Checkerboard.
Yep, no such luck. Professor here is going to flute to Link's house and head on up north. I did not catch where the medallion was for Mire, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't blame Ricky for not going in either way. Only 2 items are actually in Misery Mire. And given that...
Oh! There it is. There's Ether in the U-shaped room of Ice Palace for Lumaga. Wow.
So, if you predicted left side, it looks like you're the winners on that prediction.
Yes indeed. And that is our no mode, actually. With that, we do know where everything they need to complete the game is. So they certainly wouldn't mind another sword while they're at it.
Not far behind. Ricky heading into Ice Palace now.
Yes, indeed. And yep, there you go, the prediction results.
So Ricky should be our first runner into Go mode.
Yep. Hi, Rywick. We are in no mode. We just hit no mode about a minute ago or so.
Not an ideal no mode, unfortunately. Our runners only Master Sword and Silverless. So going to be a little bit difficult of a Ganon fight, but I assume, you know, our runners will at least try to do some extra checks along the way. Ricky's actually going to have a much cleaner Ice Palace, given Ricky has that Cane of Samaria. We'll be able to Icebreaker.
These runners are all pretty good, I'd say, Brevik. Yeah, Ricky's been doing quite well to see. Ricky's actually in the lead. We'll be heading Go mode here shortly. Lumaga is a little bit behind for a couple odds and ends. Needs a beer off Catfish is the main problem for Lumaga and Homemade Beer right now. And then Professor Renderer needs to go Ice Palace. Yeah, Homemade Beer season, I've commented him on them on a couple of my dailies now. I unfortunately don't commentate too much ALTTPR, so I'm not the best person to ask in terms of skill level, as Beer takes a death warp.
Yeah, hopefully, well, unfortunately for Homemade, has that bow, didn't find that mirror yet. As we know, that the mirror is on Quakefish, and Quakefish is just not an appealing choice.
Not at all. And Ricky's Go mode here, right now, with Ether.
So yeah, 52 minutes and 15 seconds. Ricky Kokiri is in Go mode, so that's a, you know, really good. I'm guessing, just skip the rest of the items in this dungeon. Half Magic, Bombos, Fire Rod. This is going to be an easy Cold Stare kill. Actually, I was wrong. Ricky is checking things, getting that powder out of.
I mean, it's right there.
Yep.
And you would still like another piece of equipment for Ganon, either silvers or another sword. I mean, you're right there.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, this is the best strategy that you can really go for at this point, is just kind of assume I'm going to check everything in my path. If there's a chest that I pass by normally, so if I pass by one in Swamp Palace, Turtle Rock, Ice Palace, I'm going to check it.
Yeah, no reason to walk right past it when there's still missing something that would make your Ganon fight a fair bit easier. And check and confirming that yes, Ricky can do Master Sword Silverless, which is not the easiest of things to do.
Yeah, it's just a little bit slow of a fight. Luckily, having that lamp means that even phase 4 shouldn't be a concern.
How long has Ricky been running? Good question. And we see just Red Ruby off Magic Bat. Ricky was a mentee in the mentor tourney, I believe. Yep. First order to reach Ganon, we'll be using Master Sword or an upgraded sword. That's a good question, actually. I think the odds are pretty decent that we probably will find a sword somewhere on the way, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the side of finding a sword before the end of this race. I think, there's decent odds between Swamp and TR that we'll see at least one of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but someone dumped 12.7 thousand points into Master Sword. severely skewing the result there.
Yeah, and this is a question of comfort. If you have some experience with these lower percent strats, you definitely don't do extra checks along the way. If you're feeling a little bit unsure of yourself, though, definitely could see a runner, a newer runner, deciding, I'd like another sword. Personally, I would be on the side of only checking a few chests along the way. So if I was in Ricky's shoes, I'd probably check out the flooded or the diver down room in Swamp Palace, waterfall chest in Swamp Palace, and probably nothing else. And then TR, just check what's in the way, maybe checking Laser Bridge.
Yeah, and yes, Ravik, for some reason Lumaga's audio is a couple of seconds ahead of his video. We're not sure why, but it's the thing. And yeah, I believe Ricky and Professor both do not have clean audio, but Beer Bite? I'm not sure. Okay, thank you, Maddie Lockhart. Yeah, because something that's been a bit of an ongoing issue is that, yeah, Lumaga's audio is slightly desynced. It's not a ton, but it's enough to be annoying.
Unfortunately, Lumaga heading into Skullwoods here, I don't think Lumaga picked up Fire Rod yet, so this is going to be a bit of a time sink.
Lumaga can't get Fire Rod, doesn't have a mirror.
Oh, that too.
That's his biggest problem right now is no mirror.
There's so much information. So here we go. Ricky going to perform the diver down here. Just set down that Samaria block. And then just has to, as soon as you hit the water, you need to pretty much hold down right and let go as soon as you hit the water. Then you hold out your sword, charge it up, kind of wedge yourself in between that block and the rail, and you can jump into the water. Unfortunately, nothing in that flooded room. So no sword there. I think we will see the waterfall chest here as well.
No good reason not to. Yeah, the diver down room was literally just a map and compass. And just a red ruby.
Yeah, so nothing in any of our checks in Swamp Palace. As I said at the start, this is a race where we're not going to see GT. So it's very possible multiple swords are in GT as well as our silver arrows. So we might be stuck on a Master Sword fight. On the question, on Ryok's question about, what you do for Ice Palace, I think, Lumaga did do the Ice Palace bomb jump. It took a few tries. I think this is definitely one of those things you're seeing a lot from runners, is they are familiar with Ice Palace bomb jump, so they are learning the tech. But I definitely feel it's a skill that kind of gets a little rusty now more often, just because a lot of our runners almost will wait more often to do Ice Palace.
Absolutely. Whether or not I probably would do Laser Bridge if I'm doing Turtle Rock, especially if you need a key from there. There's no reason to skip it.
Yeah. Has unfortunately no invincibility items, so it's going to be a little slow. But yeah, if I'm looking for a key, I definitely check all of TR. But I don't know. If I get that key, I might just break out and head for the boss.
Yeah. We'll see for Ricky as he picks up his that's his fourth crystal there at 58 minutes. Has Woods and Turtle Rock left.
Ricky playing a little bit safe here, gonna get some blue potions. Definitely a good choice before heading up to TR.
Smart choice.
Yeah, if you're not real comfortable with just your Master Sword, having a blue potion or two for TR and Ganon is a huge benefit.
Oh, absolutely. Also just nice to have, especially because Ricky does have a good bit of money there.
Yeah, Ricky heading now towards Skull Woods, going to take down Mothula for crystal number 6.
Fire Rod here for Professor.
And
Ooh,
Professor
does look to
Renderer
be heading for Ice Palace.
very natural route. Oh wait, never mind.
Or not. Nope. Zora area. Zora, I guess?
Yeah, unfortunately, this was a location that was kind of skipped early on, and instead gonna, being a little thorough here. Renderer has been really thorough in this race, really getting the checks early, but unfortunately has kind of just not prioritized the dungeons. And a lot of people will say that one of the best things you can do is once you have the ability to clear dungeons, prioritize them hard.
Yep. Quick swap has been allowed in dailies for some time. I don't remember when.
Yeah, I think pretty much.
Yeah, they are.
Quick swap was pretty much fully allowed right when Racing Council had pretty much decided this was allowed and has been pretty much the mainstay for all tournament races. And pretty much all systems kind of switched over to quick swap allowed at the same time.
Yeah, pretty much.
And to your second question, Ryrek, roughly about the same time, quick swap and auto tracking were pretty much both allowed roughly around the same time.
And yeah, fair enough. Sorry, stuck in French community. I mean, you have had a lot to keep track of with the French community. The micro tournament for that just wrapped up not too long ago. And to actually remember right primarily is the French side of things, because yeah, right, Ren's pretty much over there.
And Ricky does take down Mothula for crystal number 6. So Ricky just has to go beat Turtle Rock. And that will allow him to go and take down Ganon. So really brisk pace here.
Auto tracking is when you have a program that connects to your emulator that tracks your items for you, so you don't have to go click them manually.
Yeah, there's limitations on what is allowed to be auto tracked, but in the general sense, you pick up an item, it can detect it, and will add it to your tracker. So really makes life a little easier. Doesn't necessarily save really any time. It's just more of a visual thing.
Yep. Alright, Lumaka, unfortunately independent pod, which we know has an absolute load of nothing. Both Lumaka and Homemade Beer really just seriously in need of that mirror off Catfish and hurting for it at the moment.
Yeah, catfish really has been a problem. I think if you want to look at a story of this race, Renderer found the items probably the quickest out of any of our runners. Unfortunately, even finding a lot of items early that kind of prioritized hitting pendant dungeons, which has slowed him down a little bit. Whereas Ricky kind of stuck with the dungeons early, was missing that mirror, but as soon as Ricky found the mirror off of Quakefish, has just gone systematically crystal dungeon to crystal dungeon.
Yeah, and Ricky, this result is ahead of Professor Renderer, having not really touched Pod and not finished Eastern either.
Now, Professor Renderer is in go mode and definitely has a bit of a lead on our top two runners. Nice fire rod just burning through Cold Stare here.
Yep.
And yes, I don't see any reason why Ricky goes into GT. You do not do that. In this kind of race, unfortunately, Ricky missing one of those torches.
Yeah. Not too happy about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. That's going to be close, cutting it. Yep. Misses the timing. Yeah, Ricky giving some frustration slashes there.
Yeah. Thankfully, has half magic, so can just go right around again. Otherwise, would have had to go find a magic refill.
Unfortunately, I think the same thing's going to happen to Ricky again. Yeah. Just go out the room, reset it.
I do not remember Rylak, in all honesty.
So Lumaga also taking that death in pod to get back to the front.
Yeah. Also to note that the game audio was even worse, even more badly out of sync than usual, because I heard the death a good few seconds before I saw it. That threw me for a bit of a loop.
So, but Ricky is through that front area of Turtle Rock, heading into the rear portion, or at least the chomps. And our Pokey
This
here.
is, I would say, that. Yep.
And there's our big key out of Chomp Room. So I'm guessing we will not be seeing any of our Lava Island.
Sorry, my Discord. I'm not sure if it's my internet or my Discord, but sometimes it'll just lag really badly. So you and the Twitch feed will just both lag to heck for me, and I just can't hear much of anything. It's great.
So Ricky is going through Turtle Rock right now, making great progress, getting that, stealing the key from that Pokey, going to be working towards the back. We'll see if Ricky skips the big chest. This is a tactic that can come back to bite runners on occasion, depending on where the small keys are. But usually if you want to play it safe, okay, Ricky going for it, saying, you know what, I don't care. Small key is not in the lava island and the big chest. Going for it.
And yes, good point from chat. Unfortunately, Homemade Beer has decided to go to Turtle Rock without a fire rod. Wah, wah.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is something that has happened. Runners have had this get them before, so I think we've all had mirror in TR multiple times in our lives, and it's just not this time. Luckily, Homemade not going to be able to get too far.
Yeah, there is that at least. And yeah, Turlock being nice, Ricky can go straight for Trinex.
So will Ricky check any of Laser Bridge? I think at this point, it's a personal comfort question. Yeah, this is a great TR, though. Nice layout of keys, and Ricky says, nope, Master Sword Ganon, I will do this.
Yep.
Yeah, to the point of, whether or not these runners are newer or, I don't want to say unknown quantities, but definitely newer runners. I think what you're going to start finding is, especially if you're new to this game, there are a lot of options for you to get into Link to the Past Rando, and ones that can suit any skill level. I will say that there was a lot of talk about Ricky being a member of the Mentor Tournament recently. Also, I know a lot of runners have really gotten a lot of time out of doing the ladder, which has been, a great tool for just kind of getting into the race format.
Oh, absolutely. Professor Renner now in Turtle Rock himself is about a Turtle Rock, most of a Turtle Rock behind Ricky, effectively. And Lumaga, unfortunately, is going back to tell the boss, that this is a load of junk.
Yep. Definitely a story of who went to Quakefish first. Renderer really benefited a ton from doing a huge Froggy World tour early. I think Renderer probably could have been on Ganon at this point if he had skipped out on Eastern and Pod. But still,
I think so as
not
well.
far behind.
Not at all. Just a heart piece on Trinex, so it is Master Sword Silverless for Ricky. Yeah, there's gonna be some points lost, including by myself. Because this is, yep.
I mean, the only thing I could see at this point that Ricky could check, and I don't know if Ricky will, is, could do Pyramid Fairy, but I don't see that happening. It's a really slow process to do that. It's a slow check.
Yeah, nope.
So no.
All right.
Ricky.
Also, shoutouts to Homemade Beer is heading back up the mountain to pick up that flute. Hooray! Having just picked up that mirror.
Yeah.
Also, yeah,
Mirror
unfortunately,
not
Ricky
really helping
is
in this one.
short on money. Hopefully, Homemade Beer also takes the opportunity to check Ether Tablet, because that's his cane. No! Homemade Beer, no!
Yeah, unfortunately,
well,
kind of getting tunnel vision a bit there. Can't blame Homemade at all for that. You see the prize, and if you don't think about your tablet right there, very easy to skip it. But Ricky has dropped in on Ganon for that fight.
And Lumaga climbing Death Mountain stands a mirror. Well.
Now, Renderer is checking a little bit more of Turtle Rock. Did grab that big chest. Big chest was a small key, so Lava Island was an item of some sort. Now, Ricky is on Ganon. For this fight, it is 12 spins for Phase 1, 12 spins for Phase 2, 4 spins for Phase 3, and then 24 spins for Phase 4. This is going to be a very long fight. It's a very technical fight. So, just has to You just need to play it safe. Phase 2s can be really scary. You can't get real close for these shots. So it's going to be a lot of, just trying to get a shot in here or there, especially given Ricky doesn't have Cape or Keen of Berna.
Absolutely. Okay, Professor froze there for a second for me, and Lumaga did pick up the cane. Doesn't have the mirror yet for the flute, but at least has the cane, so, yeah. Homemade Beer and Lumaga, each at this point missing one check. That one check, unfortunately, might take them a while. And, Ravik, we can mention it to, Ricky in an interview if he comes in. Yeah, Ravik offering to give some help to Ricky to help improve, which is always nice to see.
But nicely so far. As we said, this fight is not it's not an easy one to get through with the Master Sword. But, working through it pretty calmly so far. And there we go, through phase 3, or phase 2 on to phase 3. As we said, just one slash or one spin for each of these to get 4 spins. And we will find out where those silvers were.
Yep, I think that was the second spin there.
Yeah, just one spin left, and then we'll find out where silvers were.
Yeah. There we go. Turtle Rock! Lovely!
Oh.
Probably on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, between Laser Bridge and Lava Chest, we did have a chance for it. But nope, nobody found them. Definitely not a.
The
That's going to be something.
Likely. There's also at least one sword in GT.
I would think so. So
I've seen most of the rest of the game. There's not a lot of checks left, in all honesty. We've got a couple in Swamp, a couple in Turtle Rock. There's 2 items in Mire, and not much else.
Yeah, we did have. We didn't really see much of Swamp, and even what we saw of Swamp was not very good.
No, we saw both the map and the compass because they were right next to each other in the flooded chests.
But yeah, Ricky doing really nice doubles here. Playing it safe. Triples are definitely the next step to kind of get used to, but next step kind of thing.
So far, though, very, very nicely done here by Ricky.
Yeah, hitting a good number of doubles, missing a couple, but not too bad overall. This is going really nicely so far. Has plenty of magic, not taking hits, so just one at a time. It's a long fight, so you just have to play it safe at times.
All right, there's Lumaga's 4th crystal here at an hour 16. And Professor is heading for Swamp for his last crystal. There, I actually don't remember pronounced. And, homemade beer. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not lost. Homemade beer is picking up Fire Rod now, and just unfortunately still needs that cave. Has done everything else on Death Mountain except for Spike Cave, unfortunately, so doesn't.
And there we go,
really
Ricky of Kokiri taking down Ganon. Just needs to cross that 1x3 bridge. And we'll be done. And here we go. And Ricky has crossed the bridge and has finished our race in a racetime.gg time of 1 hour 17 minutes and 35 seconds. Ricky is first to finish on the restream, but second overall. We did have one finisher before him, not even far behind or far ahead. Brewers fan JP first place with a time of 1 hour 16 minutes and 8 seconds. So really nicely done by Ricky, and yeah, great completion.
Yeah, GG's. Homemade beer going for Skull Woods now. Yeah, JP is a very, very good runner, as chat says. That's surprising, JP, but pretty good time on this race of an hour 16.
Yeah, casual boots is one of those modes. Even without the fast gain and speeding this up even further, casual boots, your top tier runners can really put on a great time for these races just because the lines that they draw with the boots are really great.
It's open boots, not casual boots, but yeah.
Either way, anytime you got boots this early.
Yeah. Alright, so Professor is heading for Argus now. Lumaga just save quit, and Homemade Beer is doing Skullwoods, but is going to last location at Kane at this rate, I would expect. Has absolutely no reason to go back up the mountain, and doesn't want to go back up the mountain without Kane at this point. Unfortunately, the Kane is on the mountain. We'll probably do both Pod and Eastern, likely Meyer as well, before ever going back there, which is unfortunate.
And it looks
yes, there are still interviews.
Like,
Speaking
yeah,
of,
we're joined by Ricky of Kokiri. GG's, Ricky.
Hello.
GG.
Thank you. Oh.
So, what'd you think? Great finish there.
Thank you. I regretted every moment I was inside Pod because it was pendant Pod, and the way it works is if I don't do pendant Pod, it has go mode, and if I do pendant Pod, it has nothing. So I did it and had nothing. So
that is definitely the way it goes, isn't it? Thoughts on finding out silvers were in TR?
I was really annoyed about that, but I mean, it was Laser Bridge, and I think that's the only thing I had left in Turok was Laser Bridge. So whatever. It
You had confirmation of Laser Bridge?
Well, the only things I didn't do were Laser Bridge and I guess the lava chest. So
yeah, we saw Renderer pull the big chest, and that was a small key.
Okay.
But yeah, we haven't seen Laser Bridge or the lava chest, so we're not sure which it is at this point.
Okay.
Oh hey, while we're at it though, Lumaga just picked up the beer, effectively putting him in go mode.
Oh my goodness.
And hi, JP in chat, GG's.
Hello.
Oh, and there we go.
Silvers.
Yes, JP found silvers.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so I was first on the restream? Holy
Yes.
heck.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, wow.
Oh, it was his first chest of Laser Bridge. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so it was Laser Bridge.
And here we go. Professor Renderer has all 7 crystals. A little different of a route for the crystals. 7th crystal for Renderer was Swamp Palace. I actually like the routing there.
Yeah, I should have done that, but I was really hoping for a Tempered Sword in Swamp Palace, and instead I got nothing but dungeon items, so.
Yeah, the map and compass right next to each other was just kind of like, really?
Yeah, that was my main thing.
You really
I needed a Tempered Sword. I wanted a Tempered Sword because I did not want to do Silverless Master Sword Ganon, especially without Kate, because I hate the Phase 2. But I am getting better at it, so...
Yeah, it was very nicely executed there.
Yeah, no, you did very well with it. Yeah, I think probably the difference between Master Sword and having silvers is probably a decent chunk of what made the difference between you and JP in the end.
I'm sure, because I had to do 24 spin dashes in that last phase,
so,
and he only had to do 4. So yeah, that definitely.
Oh yeah, silvers are definitely faster. So that makes much of the difference between the two of you. So it wasn't very close really between them. You then. Really, because especially with the silvers being the first chest on the bridge, it's very quick. But Rando will rendo sometimes. For all we knew, Laser Bridge was absolutely dead, and just everything was in GT.
Yeah, I mean that was entirely possible. With being fast scan, there's no reason to go into GT, and silvers are usually in there anyway.
Yeah, they are. There's at least one sword in GT, almost certainly. We've seen most of the checks outside of GT. We've seen it. Some checks in Swan, couple in Turtle Rock. We never saw. We haven't seen Meyer yet, but yeah, we're
right. Did we see the blacksmith chain at all? Or mushroom chain? I never did much.
So yeah, we did see we saw at least the Smith. I don't remember if we saw Purple Chest though.
I believe we did for Lumaka, maybe? Somebody did it. Was nothing. Homemade beer, wise, I did actually, while we were talking, pick up the cane, thankfully, head back up the mountain, and is in go mode. Not sure why he went up there again, but it does pay out.
The flute. That's why I went back up there. When I got the mirror, I went straight for that flute
Oh, yeah.
and did the tablet.
No, homemade beer got the flute and immediately quit.
Oh no.
I'm surprised he went back this quickly. It paid out, but I was thinking I was going to go higher before heading back up the mountain again for one singular check.
Yeah, to the point of, that time difference. It was only a minute and a half, 24 spins. Definitely could do that. This is going to be a hard finish for Renderer, though. Unfortunately, missing Torch Glitch.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, so this is going to be a very difficult phase 4. Hopefully still has some extra magic, extra potion or two.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, honestly, if I missed Torch... I almost missed Torch Glitch, too. I was freaking out about that. But if I had missed it, I was going to take a fall, because I don't know if I could even pull off Master Sword Silverless without the Torch Glitch.
Yeah, you had
That'd be rough.
Did you have 1 or 2 spare blue potions?
I had two.
I think you would have been
I
fine.
might have tried to pull it, but I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I think you would have been fine for magic, even having to fire off extra fire rod shots.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing we were talking about a little bit, any thought about doing or going for triples on that?
Triples on Ganon?
Yeah.
I need to practice those. I'm not really good at the timing, and I'm just more... I'm so focused on not falling and getting my at least the 2 hits in. I do need to learn to be more aggressive in getting the 3 shots.
I was going to say your doubles were really good, so I would
Yeah.
say you're definitely at a point where experimenting and trying for triples is well in your range.
Yeah.
Alright, Professor did have at least 1 potion on him and used it. Is
Good.
still going through the fight as Lumaka is now going to pick up the Ice Rod and head for Skull Woods. Either Skull Woods or Turtle Rock, those are his remaining crystals, and Homemade Beers on Trinex, which is his final crystal.
A 127 collection rate on Ricky's side, really nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Got to
And
skip
really,
a lot of stuff this seed.
I have to compliment on this clear time. Second overall, first on the restream, and you and JP really quite a gap here.
Yeah.
With the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's insane. I did not. Yeah, I did not think I was going to pull that off. I mean, first of all, I don't like. My thoughts on how good I am at this game vary towards the lower end of the pool. But on top of that, just I did the front of Skull Woods. There was nothing. I did pod, and there was nothing. It was just, I made a couple of long trips that I did not pay off, and so getting a 116 or 117 RT in real time, I don't know how I did that.
And unfortunately, Renderer having the drop on this Ganon fight out of magic. Didn't have an extra blue potion, so yeah, this is a rough one.
Feels bad, man.
That's the reason I would drop immediately, is because I'm afraid I wouldn't pull it off, and then I'd have to redo the whole thing over again.
I must say, I think the big question for this seed, even with some of our more, if you want to call them more experienced runners, is that's a lousy position for Mirror.
Yeah,
that was a terrible spot for Mirror.
And we actually, just to kind of speak to how big that position is, we had 3 really quick finishers here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. Ganon's Gone Wild in 3rd with a 128.30, DJ Darkwing D in 4th with a 128.42, and Immortal Koi with a 128.44 in fifth. So
Dang.
just 14 seconds separating our third, fourth, and fifth place runners in this one. So
Triple snipe, jeez.
Yeah.
Or double
Yeah.
snipe on that, technically. Yes, wow. GG's to all three of them, because that's a close one.
So yeah, really tight finish there. Great job by all those runners, but I definitely agree. Mirror
Yeah,
is the big question on this one. How quickly do you go to Quake?
pretty much. Alright, that is Skullwoods down for Lumaga and his 6th crystal. Homemade beers on Ganon now, and Professor is heading back.
I happened to notice Homemade on the start of this Ganon fight got a double off of the Trident. That's a good skill to have. You don't see that, or that's like a great skill to learn, especially if you're going for a Tempered Sword and the 1-in-1. So really nicely done to get quickly into phase 2 here. Meanwhile, we did have 2 more finishers, 6th and 7th place. Laggy finishing with a 129.19, and Sandra's 316 finishing with a 129.59. So our 3rd through 7th place only separated by about a minute and a half.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so the runs, like our runners are finishing on top of each other, one after another at this point.
Yeah, Homemade Beer and Professor Render are currently not that far apart from each other either. All things considered. Yeah, so you've done very well with this race for sure, Ricky. You and JP finishing well ahead of everyone else in this race, and chat has been pretty impressed with you as well. Ryblek, one of the heads of the ALTTP, our French community, has actually offered in chat. I'm not sure if he's still here to help give you some tips and advice if you want to reach out.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's still here in chat.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Ryblek had much heard of you, having mostly been caught up with the French team, but has been pretty impressed with what he's seen, as has everyone else in chat and myself as well. He's done very well with it. Yeah.
Homemade Beer is into phase 4 here. Looks like setting up for these. Yep, going for triples. Nicely so far. Yeah, that first one is always the tricky one to get, because you're pretty much going for that first spin right after pulling away the cloak. So a little harder to line up the timing. Ganon not giving the best positioning for Homemade to hit those. Still at least getting doubles on all these. Meanwhile, Render is into phase 2 once again. And Lumaga going through Turtle Rock for that 7th crystal. So everything coming up. Everybody's getting closer to that completion here. We do have, 7 runners still going. We had a 14-runner field for this race.
What happened to Love Lumaga this race, Ricky, is that unfortunately Lumaga checked up in Moldorm Cave and saved quit. Didn't pick up Moon Pearl for another.
The Ice Rock Cave. Oh,
yeah, he last location the Moon Pearl. So I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, it was a while.
Yeah, unfortunately, by the time Lumaga had last location, that Moon Pearl also decided not to get the hammer. While you, Homemade, and Professor all decided to sequence break that hammer.
Right.
Water walking, Lumaga did not. So huge deciding factor in a lot of what happened. But we did have Homemade Beer finish in 8th place tonight with a 132.36. So
GG's.
Yeah, big GG's to Homemade Beer.
So far, so good for Professor right now.
Yeah, it just has to be a little careful. Does have a fairy in a bottle, so I think that's why we're not seeing the usage of the blue potion. Gonna just risk it, and if has to revive by the fairy, that's okay.
Knows he has that safety and doesn't have to worry, although so far he has been avoiding getting hit.
Yeah, much smoother on this second attempt at phase 4. I know it seemed Renner was getting a little frustrated that first time in the fight.
Oh, there we go.
And we are now joined by homemade. Wait, yeah, we're joined by homemade beer. GG's.
GG's. Yeah, that was interesting. I really didn't want to do Eastern, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
I hate that dungeon. But then
Eastern
I
and
decided to
Pod?
do Pod instead of Catfish, and that hurt.
Yeah.
You and probably a lot of runners tonight, honestly. I think almost the majority of the field, if we asked them, would say, yeah, we all got baited into Pod.
Yeah, Pod felt right in a seat like this.
I went into Pod as well.
I will say we had a god route possible in this one. Renderer could have god routed this seed given after doing Thieves Town, Renderer grabbed Jeremiah and did a huge Froggy World tour over to Quakefish, got Bow, got Mirror.
Oh, nice.
But then afterwards had decided to check out Eastern and Pod.
Oof. Yeah.
I considered picking up the frog, but I was planning to go to Pendant Pod after I finished Hype Cave. The only thing that stopped me was I got the lamp and some other things, so I went up to Death Mountain first. But, yeah.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
makes sense.
All right, well, let's wait. Sorry here for the interruption, but we're going to say GG's to Professor Renderer here, taking down Ganon, and we'll be crossing. Finishing third on Restream, 10th overall, with a time of 1:35.39. GG's also to Fred in 3K, finishing in 9th, 1:34.37.
Yeah, it was. Did a lot of people get the early hammer? That was kind of like a okay game kind of moment.
Right.
Yeah, on the restream, you, Ricky, and Renner all got that hammer super early, getting it along with that pearl, deciding to all do the water walk out of Ice Rod Cave. Unfortunately, Lumaga had last location the Moon Pearl. Went to Mini Moldorm, save and quit out of Mini Moldorm, so then pretty much scoured the rest of the map, even sequence breaking up the mountain, hoping to find it, and then last located it, and based on that also decided not to water walk out of Ice Rod Cave, or set up the water walk. So was a really rough go for Lumaga.
Yeah,
that's a tough Moon Pearl. That's an easy skip, like just cause you just do it. You just skip it sometimes.
Yeah, and that was unfortunately not the play this seed, and Lumaga giving me anxiety there on trying to access one card, but does take it down. Alright, we will be able to get Professor in here.
Now, the question I do want to ask Homemade on this is, you go back up Death Mountain, get that flute.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you feel not going to Ether Tablet and then going back later for... Oh, wait, when did you get the...
Hurt, yeah, where was Book? Book was somewhere...
Sahas.
Yeah, when I saw that there, I was like, ooh, because I knew Ether was basically my only check left on Death Mountain at that point, and I was kind of like...
Yeah, when you saved and quit after getting the flute, we were a little concerned.
We were like, oh no. By the way, hi Professor Renderer, GG's.
Hey, GG's.
GG's.
Okay, rule of thumb, if you're ever going to go for a sub 130, please make sure you have your torch glitch on, because that's exactly what did not happen. And and I'll be honest, it looked good. It's just that nerves just straight up got to me. phase 4 just straight up collapsed afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I gotta forfeit my sub 130, just straight up. But outside of that, though, the scene really was nice. Actually, really, really nice. I was the first player to get the. I was the first one to find out about the fire rod, pretty much.
I have to say, Render, you had a great, nearly a god route to this whole seed. Honestly, I think
Yeah.
the one thing I'll say, like, if you watch this one back, I don't know if you watch races back, but if you had skipped the pendant dungeons, you could have absolutely demolished and wrecked on this race because you were definitely first here, actually, to get mirror and bow.
Yeah.
The reason why that was the case was because I mismarked my crystals and pendants.
Oh,
You would have noticed if you noticed that
Yeah.
I went out of
Yeah, you
Eastern
went-
to check my map. That was because
Yeah.
I heard the pendant theme when I had crystal as the Eastern. But then I just was like, oh, well, that's a mismark. I guess I'm gonna have to go in here anyway, just since I'm already here. I'll just treat it as if it's just a location.
Yeah, it was kind of unfortunate because if you had instead, I think if you had marked as, not mismarked it, I think you would have been up Death Mountain right at then and found Flute and Cane of Samaria, and soon after Flippers and Fire Rod, and you would have been in go really quick. So
yeah, that's exactly what I said. Like as soon as I got out of that sequence, like, man, I could have totally like if I didn't mismark that, I would have been up on the mountain right away. Everything really lined up. I really am glad that I'm really happy of not going independent Mire, because that was literally like the one thing that that I was kind of contemplating at first. But it's like, as I thought about it going through Desert, I was like, no, we're probably just gonna focus on the crystal clears, and it worked out. And I got to route in. I got to route in the stuff in the vicinity of Ice Palace, mainly get my fire rod. I also managed to go back to Zora just to make sure I had it on hand. And all I really gotta say is, again, it feels like hadn't I screwed up Ganon, that first round of Ganon, I probably would have had my first sub 130. It's going to happen. I know it.
Yeah.
I have the ability to get a sub 130. It's just that I can't. One thing, I can't let my nerves get to me. Second of all, I gotta make sure I play right. Also, sometimes during like the fights and stuff like that, I know like somewhere during my first run, my game bar popped up because I run an 8-bit toe, and that game bar is just right next to the B button, and it's just so annoying to deal with. If people run with it, if people who have an 8-bit dough, like who plays Zelda, would know exactly where I'm coming from with this. That game bar is in such a bad spot on the controller that it's just.
Oh, is that a controller?
Like, fat thumb it.
I see.
Yeah, it's part of the controller. It's straight up part of the controller.
Oh, and just so I didn't notice this earlier, Lumaga into Phase 4 on Ganon, and actually did pull the silvers out of Turtle Rock, so did not catch that one. So probably the easiest of the Phase 4s tonight.
I have to agree with you
for
there.
sure,
As
yeah.
GG's to Lumaga finishing up.
GG's.
11th place
GG's.
tier. 142.25. GG.
I beat Lumaga by that much. Wow.
So
I was not expecting
did anyone
to beat
else
Lumaga
get
that much.
Did anyone else not activate Flute? I realized after I
Yeah.
picked it up that I didn't need it, and I just went and started clearing
I mean,
dungeon.
I did. I still had it because I figured it. It's convenient. Plus, it's convenient. Just to fly around.
And
I
we
used
are
to get
now.
to Desert Palace and move fast.
So yes, we are now joined also by Lumaga. GG.
GG.
GG's.
everybody.
So
GG.
I'm gonna just ask, I guess, the obvious question here, Lumaga. I'm guessing, it was a rough one. Guessing probably not feeling great at the start.
No, not feeling great at the start or the middle or the end, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Who put that mirror over in the catfish? I want to know.
So I'll tell you, pretty much you are not alone in that one. A lot of people probably had some issues with the mirror tonight. So don't worry, you are not alone there. I will say, out of all of our restream runners, you're the only one to go get silvers.
Yeah,
Yep.
that happens when
Where
you
was that,
clear
actually?
out and Eastern.
Laser Bridge.
Yeah, that's it too.
Was on Laser Bridge? Oh.
Yeah, first
Yeah,
chest laser bridge.
chest.
I was never gonna go and do that. I was gonna go and get it anyway.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a third sword, but I'll take silvers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been nice, just to
Yeah.
confirm that my field, my what would have been my sub 130, but well.
Yeah, bow wasn't even needed in this seed, right? If I'm
Yep.
thinking-
No.
Yeah,
No,
Nothing in
why
pod,
not?
nothing in Eastern, and GT not required. Yeah, no bows.
Nope.
A lot of things weren't needed. No flute.
Yeah.
And when I went to
No
pick it up,
flute,
I
no
kind
bows.
of laughed at myself, like, oh, why am I doing this? I don't actually need this.
Yeah. Rebecca, yeah, this is just not a great seed race for you, unfortunately. Just snowballing into things. That moon pearl.
Oh yeah. Shame on me for not going to get the moon pearl in Ice Rod Cave very early either.
I was gonna say,
Yep.
it was kind of, if you watch some of that, I think the difficulty there, that was, I think, a last location, and then if you see the other three runners deciding to set up a water walk out of the water, or out of Ice Rod Cave to get the hammer
Yeah,
early as well.
that too.
So
I did try to set that up, and I don't think I was successful. I fell in the water, so didn't get the
okay.
hammer until much later.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that. So
yeah, that's part of my things I've done. I'll say this though. Thank heavens that I had the opportunity to do a world tour, because if I had not done the world tour, I probably would not be in a situation where I would have the catfish would have got me. The straight up cut would have got me. Yeah. Outside of that though, yeah, I got nothing else to say, but thanks to comms and trackers and the folks at home are watching this. One of these days, I'll get a sub 130. One of these days.
It'll
We'll
happen.
get there someday.
It'll be
Professor.
soon.
One of these days. One of these days. All right. I gotta. It's pretty late over here. I gotta get some. I'll probably get some sleep or just play something else. I don't know. Take it easy, though.
have a good night.
GG's.
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 So we do still have a couple of runners still going, but that is all four of our restream runners having finished this one. Want to ask, anything else? Any other thoughts from any of you?
No, last location is painful, especially
Definitely.
when you decide all that you have left is just isolated checks, and you just pick them all. You just do them one at a time, and realize that you must have screwed up your routing earlier to have so many one-off checks. So, but it happens. It's rando.
Yeah. GG's. Still
GG's.
pretty low collection rates. 133 for homemade beer and 137 for Professor Renderers. Haven't seen Lumaga's just yet. Yeah. I think that's about it. I'm starting to fall asleep in my chair myself, so I think this is a good time to call it a night. Any final thoughts?
That was a fun race. Thanks for casting. Thanks for hosting it. Thanks for letting me stream.
Yeah, GG's. Thanks for running.
Thanks for tracking. That was fun.
Thanks for the comms. Thanks for the crew and trackers and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
So
everybody.
the bot command for runners seems to be broken and has been for quite some time. I don't think it was working at all this race. No clue why, but
Oddly
shoutouts here
enough,
to our
yeah.
Shoutouts here to our 4 runners, Lumaga, who may be your Professor Renderer, and Ricky of Kokiri. Yeah, the boss was busted. We tried that too, Ricky. It's gone.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So
okay.
that's not working, but definitely, I would, recommend giving a follow to our runners. They did put on a great show tonight, in really fun mode here. Part of the, I guess, what the daily crew is calling a Fast Friday series. Usually, a fast mode is being used on Friday to kind of be a nice little break for before the weekend. And you also see the commentary or the crew for this race. So big shout outs to our trackers, Link to the Past Ken and Oro. Tracking is a very busy job, and each of them were handling 2 of our runners tonight. And a big shout out as well to my co-com Star 1468 for helping out tonight as well.
And thanks to Sniper here for commentating also.
So as always, I think we're going to be calling it here for the restream. We do still have a couple of runners finishing up, but just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We do have a lot of races coming up as part of the dailies. So pretty much Monday through Friday there will be a race. The big piece to keep in mind, if you are interested, recently announcements came out for the main tourney starting in less than 2 months, and a lot of those daily races will actually be the mode for the main tourney. That is a standard start with a hard item pool. So if you want to start getting practice in for those, a lot of the upcoming daily races will be that mode.
I'm looking forward to that, and that would pretty much for us. Thanks for watching, everyone.